Hello, my name is Paul Jones and I recently uploaded a video called Rome is not the Fourth Empire of Daniel. This was largely created to promote my book Concerning a Nation, which deals with errors in prophecy and how those errors have misled Americans. However, the devil always presents us with a moving target, and I now realise that a new error has taken hold, which is the belief that the Islamic Caliphate is the Fourth Empire. This misunderstanding arises from the exact same error which created the belief that the Roman Empire or the European Union were the last empires. Just as Christians who had an education which was grounded in classical Latin and Greek antiquity could not see past their own presumptions, so today European Christians are obsessed with the EU and American Christians are obsessed with Islam, especially after 9/11. I think it's highly significant that this idea is gaining traction in the new century. We can see Islam as a threat to Israel and America everywhere. It's all over the media and clearly some people wake up screaming about it. As I've pointed out in my book, the post-millennial prophecy of Gog and Magog in Ezekiel 38 is currently being forced to fit Iran, which it doesn't. In my first video I explained how the belief that the legs of Daniel's statue were Rome was based on the erroneous belief that Rome was divided. If you'll excuse the pun, the iron test of the identification of any candidate for Fourth Empire is whether it is divided north and south. As I explained elsewhere, the Kingdom of Greece was divided after Alexander's death, and the bronze thighs of Nebuchadnezzar's dream statue represent the kingdoms of North and South, the Ptolemaic and Seleucid empires of Daniel 11. The legs of iron follow on directly from those divisions. I also saw a very unusual thing. Whenever I watched a video about the statue online or googled a picture of it, I saw this. The statue has been rigged so that they can airbrush out the bronze thighs which represent those two post-Alexandrian empires. This bronze kilt is used so that you can't see them. This is what it should be. Now sure, Islam is divided into two branches, Sunni and Shia, but those are not geographical divisions and they're certainly not north and south. The split in Islam is a theological division. Remember, interpretations have to fit exactly. You can't just get current affairs and squeeze them in. Secondly, the impression is that this is an equal split. There's nothing equal about the Sunni and Shia divisions. Only 15% are Shia Muslims. The rest are for the most part Sunni. One thing that prophecy tells us is that in the end times the world will have changed beyond recognition. There won't be any organised religions and men will worship demons and idols again. You can see this in many biblical passages such as Revelation 9:20 and Daniel 11. Muhammad, if you will remember, cleared out a lot of the demons and idols but kept one false god, Allah, in order to simplify worship. The prophecies of Daniel miss out the New Testament Gentile era, and Islam is a New Testament phenomenon. That's why the Fourth Empire can't be Rome, that's why it can't be the Caliphate. Even if it figured in Revelation, which covers all prophecy, Jewish and Gentile, it still couldn't apply to Daniel. Now, some people think that because this prophecy was dreamed by Nebuchadnezzar in the Aramaic portion of Daniel, then it must have more to do with Babylon than Judah. But it's Daniel who interprets it for the king. And the whole point of these Old Testament prophecies is that they tell the future of the Jewish people and the empires that subdue them. I'll come back to that. In Daniel 11, which gives us a much more detailed view of Daniel's prophecy, the action jumps to the future after Antiochus III and deals with the career of the coming prince. Now, one thing we know about the four empires of Daniel, and indeed the empires of Revelation, is that they all at one time or another subdued the Holy Land while the Jews were living there. Let me just let that sink in for a while because it's very important. Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece and Rome all subdued the Holy Land while the Jews were living there. The Egypt which was ruled by Ptolemy, one of Alexander's generals, did exactly that, and so did Shishak the Pharaoh. Hence the omissions of the New Testament time when the Jews were scattered around the world. The unchallenged king of persecuting the Jews is Adolf Hitler, yet he is not mentioned in prophecy at all. That's because he belongs to the Gentile era and not to Daniel's prophecy. Rome persecuted the Jews in their land, but did not arrive until after the Jewish period of self-rule. Rome is never mentioned in the Old Testament, but is mentioned abundantly in the New. Rome presided over the reconstruction of the temple and of the crucifixion, and that's why it's mentioned in Revelation, but not in Daniel. Did Islam subdue the Jews while they were in the land? No. The Islamic Ottoman Empire controlled the land while the Jews were away, but was driven out by the British in 1917. In fact, in my book I outline how the British took control of the Levant in 1879, ready for the Aliyah. The Jews declared independence in 1948 and drove the British out. Since that time the Jews have been returning to Israel. The Muslim nations have caused them immense trouble and will do again, but they have not subdued the Jews while they were in their land. Remember when Americans were obsessed with communism? One of the first prophecy books I ever read proved beyond any doubt that communism was the final empire. The red horseman of the apocalypse was communism, and the Sino-Soviet split represented the division. That was the 50s. Now Americans have a new mania. This idea of the Caliphate is not some brilliant new revelation, it's the same old process. It's another attempt to make people think that what they read in the newspapers and what they see on television is relevant to Bible prophecy. It's the same mistake, painted a different colour. It doesn't fit, just as Rome, the Roman Catholic Church, the Holy Roman Empire, Mussolini, Nazi Germany, communism, the United Nations and the European Union don't fit. They just suit and are reflections of contemporary obsessions. So what is it? The final empire of the beast will be like nothing that you can see in the world today. Of course, there are many more reasons why the Islamic Caliphate cannot be the final empire, but you'll have to read my book Concerning a Nation to find out. It only remains for me to say thank you and God bless you for watching.